Interesting. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulih al-Kareem. Amma ba'ad. Okay. Now, again, back in the previous semester, one of our discussions was about the names of the surahs. And the key point that we're emphasizing there is that at the core, what is the function of the names of the surahs? It's identification, right? So if I say Ali Imran, you know which surah I'm talking about. If I say Surah An-Nisa, you know which surah I'm speaking about. So the core function of the names of the surahs is identification. Sometimes the surahs might also give us something about the, the theme of the surah. Like Al-Fatiha. What is Al-Fatiha? It's the opening. It's the opening of the whole surah. Okay? Or another name of Al-Fatiha is Ash-Shifa. So one of the nicknames that we find, especially these days for Al-Baqarah, is the surah of the two ummahs, Surah Ummatain. Okay? The ummah of Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the ummah of Musa, peace be upon him. Well, ummah of Musa first and the ummah of Muhammad, peace be upon him. But when we look at the name Al-Baqarah as being the name of this surah, people connect it with this story that we're reading right here. Okay? And we probably won't get through the entire story. We're only going to do part of it. Okay? Or at least the big lessons, or maybe we'll go through the whole story and just do the lessons next time, inshallah. But there are a couple of big layers here. First, we're going to look at ayahs 67 through 71 on its own, and then next week we'll look at it in terms of the greater context. Okay? But you will find that there are some very central questions or central points related to how we should be approaching our deen. Anyways, all this is abstract. Let's just jump right into the conversation. Okay, and remember when Musa told his people, وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ Indeed, Allah commands you أَن تَذْبَحُوا بَقَرَةً to slaughter a cow. Okay. Now, key point here, the word here is ذَبَحَ. Okay, it's not sacrifice, it's slaughter. Slaughter a cow. Okay. And then they said, قَالُوا أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا Are you taking us for fools? Are you taking us to make fun of us? Are you mocking us? Okay. And then he makes this dua, أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ I seek refuge with Allah from being one of the ignoramuses, the jahils. Okay. Okay. First point for some basic points. Musa alayhi salam is speaking to his people. Ya qawmi, liqawmihi. Okay. Now this is something, again, some more basic materials that we're discussing to make sure everyone is on the same page. Why do prophets, peace be upon them, get appointed to speak to their own people? What's the logic there? Muhammad, peace be upon him, is speaking to his Arabs. Isa alayhi salam is speaking to the people of Nazareth, so forth and so on. What are some of the wisdoms we can get from that? Yeah, you speak the language. Okay, you're speaking, and lingo is actually even a better term because you're speaking to the language in the way they speak it, right? You know the people; they know you. Okay? So there will automatically be some trust, some understanding. Okay? And you know what I was discussing with a brother here. Even though I was raised here, many places where I speak, people will regard me as an outsider. Right? I mean, literally in one of my classes, today's Friday, on Wednesday. Ask yourself, how would you answer this question? I had a student in the class who was saying that, and the student himself is maybe 60 years old, he's saying that, okay, in the past 10 years, Muslims have been complaining about how they're being treated, okay, but all they're getting are a bunch of dirty looks, whereas when Americans overseas, what happens to them? They get killed. Okay, how do you understand? How do you respond? Okay. Any thoughts? Okay, so that's one response. Okay, which Americans are getting killed? And there's this church that's burnt down in Egypt, so Christians are getting killed here. So that's one answer. Okay, that Americans are killing people all over the world. Okay. Okay. Okay.
This is my. This, the food theater.
America is only 200 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, this sins of killing humanity,
okay.
slaughtering, as long as they cannot stay the person. I mean, you drop the dead from the sky, and 10,000 people die. And it's okay, as long as they don't see the blood.
Okay.
But when they see little,
Okay.
so it's things have to be addressed, as long as you're killing the whole all around.
Okay.
There's so much, just a little bit thing happening in Iraq. They were big things. Saddam Hussein was a bad guy.
Okay.
There's no question about it. But the other day, when I see these people in the wheelchair, their legs are broken, it makes me very sad.
Okay.
But the price we pay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Next door is
okay. Okay. Okay.
You cannot just get up with everything and slow.
Okay.
Everything is by sissy out there. And then
okay. Okay. So there's one big response right there. Okay. Okay. How else? How else? Mashallah. How else would we respond? Okay. So this person is saying, what are Muslims complaining about, right? All you get are a bunch of bad looks, but when Americans in Muslim countries, what happens to them? They get killed and beaten and everything else.
And you're the professor?
So I'm the professor in the class.
Why are they in the Muslim countries?
Okay, so this is the same point. So you're agreeing on this point. Well, why are we there in the first place? Okay, yeah, okay. There's a very subtle, very devious point here.
What I was going to say is, am I not an American?
This is the point, that the story that's being given is that you're from over there and you're here and we're treating you with respect. Okay, when we are over in your home, you're doing this to us. Okay, so what is the very devious point here is that we are being told that we are not from here. Okay.
In Afghanistan, the Americans were there. Nobody bothered them. They were thinking Americans were great guys. They were flying to the sky.
You're talking about 15 years ago. Yeah. Or 20 years ago, at the time the Soviets were there. Okay, but think about the very subtle point that is being made here, right? When the people on the right wing especially say that Obama is a Muslim, okay? What are they saying? What are they really trying to say?
Muslims are evil.
Okay, well, when is Muslims are evil, right? All that stuff. Okay, what are they saying? He's not one of us. Right? That he's an outsider. It's no different than saying he's born in Kenya, okay? Right? That he's an outsider. Keep this point in mind. That so the right wing, what do they often say? Okay, Muslims are here, they're secretly trying to take over the whole country. But what does the left wing also say? That we have to welcome them here. Okay? How many years have we been here? 400 years we've been here, okay? Yeah. So keep this point in mind. That this is the point that I made to him. I said, okay, you just told the exact same narrative that was being told about the Islamic Center at Ground Zero, right? Yeah, that these are outsiders, and here they are on our land, right? Yes, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is 100% true. Yeah, I'm not that old, so I'm only learning this now.
But Americans are still a lot of people tell you, when you talk like this about I have a big family, people know me. But a lot of people don't like this kind of stuff. They told me, why you Americans come next door? I said, this is the enemy. They build your roads, they build houses for you. This is not the classical enemy, where in the old time they would kill a man and take his life.
Well, this is actually this is a fair point. 'Cause I have this Muslim friend who's in the military, right? And then he tells me the stuff that the military is doing, right? And a lot of it is infrastructure building. And I told him, all right, you got to tell this to the press because nobody's talking about that. Okay, but anyway, what is the key point that I'm making here? In the context of the prophets, peace be upon them, they're speaking to their own people, but often the rhetoric about us, a lot of the language about us, is saying that we are outsiders, right? If you're paying taxes, you own this country as much as everyone else. But even think of it from another perspective. I said this in Jamaat recently. Okay, so think back even for when we usually think of America, this is related to we usually think of white people. Okay, white people are Americans, we're not. Most of the white people you meet, especially if you're living in the city or suburbs, have only been here for like four generations, 5 generations, which many people in this room have now been here for 3 generations, except for the African Americans who have been here for 200 years, 300 years. Yeah.
It sort of goes back to what I was saying about speaking the lingo of I have this thing specific, and that is prophets weren't speaking the lingo of the people that were there, they would be considered outsiders as well.
Exactly. They would be considered outsiders, yeah.
Hamza used it a very long time ago.
Sure. Is this the old Hamza Yusuf? No, I'm kidding.
But he brought up a very good point. He said Rasul was delivering message in his way when he spoke to a certain group.
Yeah.
The nobles of the Quraysh versus when he spoke to the common folk. He understood the difference in presentation.
Sure.
We don't get that.
Yeah.
The Israelis get that. Perfect American.
Sure.
We do all the time.
Yeah, it's
Never, I mean, it's my...
there's other reasons for that too. Yeah, that.
There's a PR...
No, 100% correct.
And then
Right.
don't speak
You know.
on people who will always consider you an outsider as opposed to if they look on
Yeah.
TV and see, I don't know, Ahmed Rahab with no accent speaking articulate.
I think he has an accent, but yeah. Yeah, I think he has a pretty thick accent. Yeah.
Reasonable to American people, I'm sure they're pretty nice people. And everybody is of the earth. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've been here in this country for 40 years.
Mashallah.
And I find them very reasonable people.
Yeah. Well, if I think that's absolutely true of just about everyone in America. That everyone in America is a reasonable person. But what else is everyone in America being told? The world you have, everything is falling apart.